Hey, what's up, guys? Today I want to do something a little bit different. Take a moment off Dark Souls. This game right here, it's called Hex, Shards of Fate. It recently came out on Steam. It's a free download. But anyway, it's a trading card game. It's really similar to Magic the Gathering, if you've ever played that. However, it does have RPG elements that kind of set it apart from other trading card games. For example, in the campaign, you can actually level your hero class and equip him with gear and things that you get, and of course do the deck manager and all that. I'll show you. I've already been playing this for a few hours to basically get through the tutorials and everything and get a handle on the game. When you start the campaign, you actually get to create your champion. You pick a faction on here, so you can either do the Ardent or the Underworld. You pick a gender, which there's a couple. On the Underworld side, the Dwarfs and the Venom cannot be females, but then anyway, you pick a race, and then you also pick a class. It's Cleric, Warrior, and Mage for all the races. But all the races that are on here get different traits and stuff. There's a lot to cover because it also changes based on their class. So they all get different stuff here. It would take a while to cover all that, so we're just gonna give you an idea. For the Ardent side, there's humans, orcs, Coyotail, and elves. And of course they can be any of the classes here. And on the Underworld side, you have the Necrotic, Dwarves, the Shinhair, and the Venom. Which actually what I'm playing is a Venom. It's basically like a part spider, part four-armed man, I guess. Anyway, back to the main menu before we jump into the campaign for me to show some example battles. In here you can do a deck builder. Now this isn't covering the campaign's deck. You have the same cards in the campaign that you have outside of the campaign, but the campaign you have, you make that character and you kind of start with a pre-built deck to work with, whereas from the main menu to do like the PvP and stuff outside of the campaign, you're not going to be using a pre-built deck. You'll get like 1,000 cards or something, most of which are mana when you start, and then you build your deck. But anyway, you can set up your deck, and you have all these values here for like ratios and costs. You can also do test draws, new hands, mulligans. You can draw cards, which is kind of nice. You can also check for validation. Like for example, this deck that I have right here, I can't use it in formatted PvP because of certain cards that are in it, but it is valid for the PvE outside of the campaign. Also, you have equipment here. You have a headpiece slot, a trinket, chest, gloves, feet, and weapons. Now, I haven't noticed these heroes being able to level up outside of campaign. That seems to be a campaign-only thing, which you actually get like a skill tree and everything, really similar to like an MMORPG, which we'll get into that once I jump into the campaign. I do need to equip these new boots, which basically what these do for the Vilefang Aramite cards that I have in the deck, they get the effect once per turn. When I gain health, I make a spiderling egg for each opposing champion and put them into their decks. So basically these equips that you get affect like one specific card. I think there might be a couple that affect multiple cards, but not a lot. So see, I've got a bunch of equipment here, but a lot of them don't affect cards that I have in my deck. So you kind of equip stuff based on what you're using, in the deck. And when you set up your PvP set, you pick between any of these champions. that are on here, and they all have different effects. But you don't create a character. You just choose from these pre-builds for that stuff. And anyway, from here, of course, you got your store. You can buy cards, buy packs with platinum, which is like a purchased currency. You can see here I don't have any platinum. And then there's also gold, which is your like in-game currency. But what's really neat is they've actually put an auction house into this, and like you can specify here if you want it to just be gold or just be platinum. And people will sell like cards. For example, this one, this Thorn Sprout. Minimum bid is 1 gold, buyout 180. You can even... Now, I haven't really seen any packs for... Oh, they've actually added some. Okay, but so you can buy packs if you get a bunch of gold, which you'll actually get quite a bit when you're playing the campaign. Like, I got that. I got 3,000 in just a few hours of play today, and I actually spent some of it within the campaign. So, also, theoretically, you could get platinum by selling things on the auction house that people pay platinum for. So, as far as the outside of the campaign, you have random battles online. You have tournaments, which actually have prizes at the end. But all the tournaments I've looked at, you have to pay like a platinum cost down or pay packs down that go into the pool for people to get if they win. And then you have AI battles here. Then you got the tutorial and practice battles, but you also have this thing called the Frost Ring Arena. And here you actually get to fight different battles here with AI opponents. And I've actually won a few battles here, and you get rewards based on how far you get, and then you can withdraw at any time and keep your rewards that you earned from the battles that you completed. So anyway, we'll jump into the campaign here, which, like I said, I've done a little bit of it just to kind of get through the tutorial phases and whatnot. And I've actually got it up to, you have dungeons within the campaign. You also have battles from the main map here and everything. But for example, this is a dungeon, and I actually tried it earlier and got to the final boss, and I died because you only get so many lives when you go into the dungeon. We'll just go through all this. Alright. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So, basically all 5 of these are battles. Now this dungeon isn't like some of the past dungeons. I get to pick which way I go, and I have to beat all 5 of these elemental battles. And then that unlocks the final boss. Now if you look down here, you have, I have 3 lives right now. And actually, let me exit real quick out of the dungeon. I forgot to show you the talent trees, which while you're in the dungeon, you cannot change anything within your deck. You can also not change your talent points. So you kind of got to get that ready before you go in. The talent tree here, if you notice, it's very similar in some regards to like an MMORPG's talent tree. Like for example, this skill right here, you will have to have gotten this skill to get it, which you also have to get this skill. So they all tie in together that way. And then some of these, like for example, this is only 1 point, but and this one's actually 0 points, but you lose 7 to your starting health. So but for example, this skill right here takes 2 points, and you get one skill point when you level up. And for example, this one, I actually took this earlier. So at the start of my game, if I have 10 or more troops in the deck and or hand, 25% of my troops in my deck get trained, and all trained troops get +1/+1. So it's kind of nice. You can't really judge which troops are going to get that +1/+1, but it actually does help out quite a bit. But anyway, we'll jump into a battle so you can kind of see how it works. Like I said before, it's really similar to Magic the Gathering, and you're going to have you know, your mana, which there's pretty much the same colors. They're changed, like, whereas Magic had black mana, this one has blood, but it's, in essence, it's really the same thing. There is one major change to, which one do we want to go to? We'll do black. It's kind of a fun one because it fits my my deck build actually quite a bit. There's one major change that kind of took some getting used to, which I'll cover that once we get into the battle. But if you notice in the campaign before you fight somebody, it's going to tell you their hero ability, which is, this is somewhat similar to Hearthstone, but you build up, instead of using like a mana cost or something like that, you build up charges anytime you play mana, and then certain cards will give you charges. And for example, this one requires 5 charges. It lets the opposing hero draw a card, and then it gives their enemy, which would be us in this case, 1 blood threshold. It's not the same as mana, it's a little bit different, and I'll explain that once we get in. And it gives a random blood card, so a random, basically black mana type card. So we'll get in here. And I've noticed in the campaign, it seems like the enemies always get to choose. And basically, whoever wins the flip, they get to choose if they want to play first or draw first. So, you know, whoever plays first is not going to get to draw. So, let's see. Our hand, I don't really like that, so let's draw again. You get 1 free draw. I don't like this because I have like no mana, but that Hatchery Priest right there is one of my primary cards for my deck, so I'm just going to keep it, and we'll hope we get mana. Now, if you notice here on the right-hand side, right in here, there's terrain effects. Now, this seems to be primarily a campaign thing, but for example, when we're fighting in this zone, anytime a champion plays a blood card here, you put a spiderling egg into the opponent's deck, which is actually how my deck is built. It's all spiderlings, which is, I just started it because it sounded cool, and it's proven to be, I think it's an amazing like deck style that I've never really seen in another game. So we'll keep going for a second, and you'll be able to see what these spiderlings are like. So we'll play our blood shard. Now, if you notice down here, you have a resource pool. Now that 1/1 is your mana. However, it's different from Magic because, see, we have 1 mana and we have 1 blood mana threshold. It's kind of different because, for example, let's say I had just the 1 blood mana, but then I had, say, 4 of the blue mana, which in this game is sapphire, but it's pretty much water. So I have 4 of the blue mana and 1 of the blood. This one costs 2 with a threshold of 1. This one costs 1 with a threshold of 1. I could play all 3 of these if I wanted to, because I would have 5 mana total. And once it comes into here, as long as this, I can't move it, but as long as the blood there below the mana cost, as long as you have that threshold, I don't have any that have more, but as long as you have that, you can play it. The cost at the top left just comes from this section, so you'll see it more once I start getting in more mana and stuff, like blue mana and whatnot. So we'll proceed on. And this guy actually has lethal, so anytime, so any amount of damage this deals to a troop, it's fatal, regardless of how strong the troop is. So we're just going to go ahead and skip. We definitely don't want to lose our hatchery priest, because we actually have equipment that buffs this guy quite a bit. So what he does, anytime you tap him, you put a spiderling egg into your opponent's deck. And when a spiderling egg enters an opposing champion's hand or crypt, you put a spiderling into play. Now what this does, it makes these eggs inside of the opponent's deck. Well, anytime that they draw it or it goes into their graveyard, we get one of these. They're unblockable and they're 1/1, and it just goes right onto the field, which is how this deck works, and I have a lot of cards that complement that. So basically with these spiderling decks, we just try to fill the opponent's deck with as many spider eggs as we can, and then when they start drawing, they start popping eggs. And I mean, there's been turns where I'll get like 7 or 8 spiders in one turn, and I'll have cards out that say, now see, this one actually got boosted because of my trait, so he's a 1/3 instead of a 0/2. But I'll have cards out that say deal 1 damage every time I get a spider, or let me draw a card every time I get a spider, stuff like that. I actually have a unique in here that lets us debuff the enemy's creatures quite a bit. That's a 4/2 spider. Alright, now see, we got a blue mana here. Now see, this one only requires 2 mana, but just 1 blood threshold. So we'll go ahead and play that. It's kind of hard to explain it, and it's quite a bit different. There was nothing like that in Magic or anything, but basically once your mana's played, it counts as any color that needs to be, or basically these don't require colors, I guess you would say. Don't require specific colors, but you have to have so much of a specific color before you're able to summon it. But you don't lose that color when you use that mana or anything like that. So anyway, he just played his hero ability and actually gave us a Naj Scrounger, which when an artifact enters an opposing crypt from a deck, you put that into your hand. But it's not a bad card for 5 mana. But see, this one takes a blue and a blood, so we could actually summon that if we had, 5 mana. But alright, so we're gonna play this guy. He can't block, but if he dies, I get to put 4 spiders into the opponent's deck. So this guy doesn't really do anything for the spiders, but he has flight and he drains life, which is kind of nice. We're going to go ahead and try to get him to block, which he's not going to. Right. Oh, see? We just got 3 spiders. And that was... He only drew 1 spider egg, but because of both of these having the bonus from the nursery handler's gloves, we got 3 spiders instead of just 1. So now we have 3 1/1 unblockables. And he's gonna hit us for 4. That's fine. Brought out another spider. Alright, yeah, we're kind of mana screwed right now. These guys are kind of nice because they put 6 spider eggs when they come out. So, they're actually quite a bit of fun. We'll go ahead and... We're actually going to go ahead and run this guy in, try to get those 4 eggs out. Plus he can't block anyway, so best thing to do with him is kill him off pretty quick. And there we go, we just got 3 more spiders, see? That's what I like about this deck is, like, you kind of just infest the opponent's deck with stuff, and then they pretty much take care of your side of the field by summoning all your creatures. Now normally I probably wouldn't block this damage since this enemy encounter, he doesn't have a whole lot of life. But to show you the blocking, we'll do that. And in this one, the blocker decides what order that he wants to hit these guys. And so, say he blocks this one, which I mean they're the same, but say he blocks this one. After he blocks it, he would have 3 remaining damage. So 3 remaining damage would carry over to this. So in this case, it's not going to be a big deal. But if, say we had something with 3 defense and something with 2 defense, he could kind of choose which one he actually wants to kill, which one's going to be left with 1 health. So, and he's got to summon another one. Call the Grave. So he gets that into his hand, and it's another giant spider. But that's fine. Alright, we got another blood shard. Alright, see, we got our 5 charges now from playing mana and different stuff. So we can deal 2 damage to target opposing champion or troop. Okay, if it's a troop, I get the damage back. So I usually don't do that. Plus, if I hit the champion, I'm going to get 2 spider eggs into their deck. So naturally, I always hit the champion. And we got a couple more spider eggs, but this spell lets me, either my opponent or me, I get to choose, but they draw 2 cards. So we're going to go ahead and give that to us. Okay. Which it doesn't really matter because we actually win this battle this turn. And wow. And anytime you win a battle in the campaign, you get gold and experience. So see, and I mean this is actually a lower payout than a lot of the battles. So, you know, gold builds up actually pretty quick. So, and I was looking at the auction house earlier, and there's actually quite a few cards I'm planning on buying here in a little bit to help build up these decks. So, but I think we'll do one more battle for this video, and then I'll probably stop it there because I'm just trying to. Anybody who's interested, I'd like for them to get a chance to see this game because it's a lot of fun. Like I said, it just came out a couple days ago. Now they did have some issues early on. I know today, one reason I was waiting to do a video for this until now is because the campaign was really bad laggy. Like you would make a choice and then you'd have to wait like 20 seconds or something. But they've already got that fixed, and from what I've seen so far, they've really been listening to the community and stuff on their opinions. We're actually gonna keep this hand. Now, this card lets me basically go through my deck and pick any mana I want of the 5 basic manas, put it on the field. This card is basically an instant cast. You can play it on your turn or your opponent's turn, and I can interrupt one of their cards and then put 2 spiders into their deck. I actually just got this card from a pack just a little bit ago. So I don't know for sure that there's another way to get platinum outside of just selling things on the auction house. That's the only way I've personally seen so far since I started. There might be some from the campaign, but I do know that Crush is basically trample. Any extra damage left over, if something blocks this, goes to the opponent's health. So, but yeah, I haven't seen any way that I know of to get platinum outside of selling things on the auction house. However, I will say that, say you do a battle on the campaign, you can actually stay in that area and keep grinding and get rewards from it. So So there is the the ability to grind up a little bit there. We're gonna go ahead and take that damage. Oh, and also when it comes to online PvP with other players, in the event that they get disconnected during the battle, we're going to go ahead and hit this guy for 2. What it does on here is it gives them 5 minutes to come back, and if they don't come back within that 5-minute period, they automatically lose the game, and you get, counted as the victor for that. By the way, I don't know if I said it already, but this guy has flying, and when he deals damage to the opponent champion, they get 2 spider eggs in their deck. So in this one, this symbol, it took me a little while to figure this one out, but at the start of their turn, basically, they get 1 extra mana. Now it doesn't, since it's a 1/0, it doesn't carry over to the next turn, but they get 1 additional mana for every, every turn that's out. Alright. So we're actually taking a beating right now, but... Alright. We're going to go ahead and get a blue mana. And... these are really nice to sacrifice spiders for, because you can sack a spider and give, say, another spider or something +3/+3 for 2 mana. So it's really nice for making your spiders really powerful, really quick. I'm hoping we can get some spiders actually here pretty soon. That's what I'm hoping, because we're taking a hell of a beating right now. Skyguard, they get to block creatures with flying. Steadfast, they don't tap when they attack, so they can keep blocking. And he's using his special. See, that gives us 1 to our threshold. It doesn't give us 1 mana, but it gives us 1 green threshold. So we can actually cast this spell, create 3 battle hoppers, and put them in play. Which these guys are just 0/1s. It's good if you have a deck built around it, because they kind of play somewhat similar to elves, from what I've seen anyway. So, if I played that, I wouldn't have the mana. I'm pretty sure we've lost this battle, just because I'm not getting creatures. Oh, we can abominate. We'll sacrifice this one and give the 3/3 to this one. And by the way, any card that says like it creates another card, you can actually just click there and then say I can click here and there's Spiderling. And anything, that has a special, like for example Flight, you can just open up this card, right click on it, and see what it does there. Oh shit, I forgot that they had Skyguard on that. Oh well. Yeah, fun times. We might actually make it through this turn. Maybe so. No, we won't. And we lost. But oh well. I will say that the boss in this middle zone here, once you clear all these, is really tough. At least for my deck, but we'll exit back out of there. And see, this is kind of where I started, and I went through all this stuff here. And you can kind of just like move around. and say explore. And this area right here is quests that we've got, which this taming, if you're curious about that, you can actually find like some wild creatures in different places, and you can actually tame certain cards in their deck and get them within your card manager. So, and you can use them both here in the campaign and outside in the PvP and the PvE stuff here. So the store, just so you get a look at that, you can buy platinum here, which from what I've seen, these, like for example these packs, you're looking at, let me double check, but I think it's like $5 for a pack pretty much. Yeah, it's $4.99 for 500 platinum, so be $5 a pack. But I do know, like this pack for example, this is a starter deck. These are $5. Now these packs are only 200, so what, $2 a piece. It's not terrible. But yeah, the only way to get it is with platinum. So far I haven't really seen any way other than the auction house to earn that platinum. And I did notice, I haven't personally bought packs yet, but you have this weird ass thing where you open them. So you get to like spin and upgrade. I don't really get it yet. But it almost seems like you can pay to like gold or something to, you know, try to get better cards or something out of it. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, so that's pretty much the game here. I will show you the tournament section because it was kind of surprising to me. See, there's a lot of tournaments going on, and they pretty much close once they fill up. But we'll just pick a random deck. Say like here, to join this, you would have to pay 100 platinum to do it. So, but the winner gets a booster pack. So if you feel comfortable with your deck, you could actually, a booster pack's 200, so you could double, basically in essence double your platinum and get a pack for 100 platinum. So, but yeah, for those of you that watch this, I appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you check it out. So far I've played quite a few hours and I've really enjoyed it. I would like to see them include a way maybe to earn platinum, something similar to Hearthstone. That's one thing I think Hearthstone has over this, is that you can earn, you know, the bot currency with your daily quests and stuff. I'd like to see something like that on here, but we do have the auction house, so I mean it's not impossible. But yeah, if you enjoyed it, I would definitely appreciate a like, subscribe, share it, comment. I'll definitely get back to your comments. If you have any other questions, I can make a follow-up video. I might do some just random battle videos and stuff like that. But yeah, I appreciate your time, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.